1.
What is home? A roof to keep out the rain? 4 walls to keep out the wind? Floors to keep out the cold? Yes, but home is more than that. It is the laugh of a baby, the verse of a mother, the strength of a father, warmth of loving hearts, lights from happy eyes, kindness, loyalty, comradeship. Home is first school for young ones, where they learn what is right, what is good, and what is kind, where they go for comfort when they are hurt or sick, where joy is shared and sorrow eased, where fathers and mothers are respected and loved, where children are wanted, where the simplest food is good enough for kings because it is earned, where money is not as important as loving kindness, where even the tea kettle whistles from happiness. That is home. Ernestine Schumann Heink.
2. No one realizes how beautiful it is to travel until he comes home and rests his head on his old, familiar pillow. Lin Yu Tang.
3. The wealth of a man in exile is home, and the poverty of a man at home is exile. Arabic proverb.
4.
The best way to keep children home is to make the home atmosphere pleasant and let the air out of the tires. Dorothy Parker.
5.
A man builds a fine house, and now he has a master and a task for life. He is to furnish, watch, show it, and keep it in repair the rest of his days. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
6.
Boys are life's way of telling you your house is too clean. Unknown.
7.
There isn't enough furniture in the world to make a house without love feel like a home. Unknown.
8.
A house is a home when it shelters the body and comforts the soul. Philip Moffat.
9.
A house that does not have one worn, comfy chair in it is soulless. May Sarton.
10.
A small old house filled with love is better than a large new house with none. Unknown.
Where are you going to live when you start college in the fall?
I don't want to live on campus. There's too much noise when you're trying to study, and there aren't enough places to go when you want to socialize. So I'm going to get an apartment off campus.
Cool. What kind of apartment do you have in mind?
Well, I'm hoping to find a large modern place with an extra bedroom for visitors. It has to have parking, and of course, it has to have a washer and dryer.
Hold on. Do you have enough money for an apartment like that?
Why? Do you think it would be very expensive?
You are clearly out of touch with rental prices. You need a reality check. An apartment like that will cost an arm and a leg.
Like how much?
We're talking megabucks. Maybe $2,000 a month.
$2,000? I had no idea. I thought it would be a lot less than that.
Only if you want to live in a tiny apartment way outside of the city.
Well, maybe I shouldn't be in such a rush to move out. I could live at home with my parents just for the first year.
Finding the right apartment to rent can have a big impact on your life. Still, finding the right rental doesn't have to be an overwhelming project if you know what to look for. Here are some of the most important factors to keep in mind. The location of the apartment is extremely important. You might find a beautiful, big apartment, but if you don't like the neighborhood, you're probably not going to be happy in your home. Ask yourself, Do I like the feel of this neighborhood? Is it convenient for shopping and transportation? Is it safe enough? Is having a lot of light important to you? Then be sure to check the number and size of windows in the apartment and whether they are facing south. If an apartment doesn't have enough light, you may find it to be a depressing place to live. Check the size of the rooms to make sure your furniture will fit. After all, the last thing you want to discover on moving day is that your queen-sized bed won't fit into the bedroom. Also check that there is enough closet space to fit all of your clothes. Do you have a pet? If so, find out whether pets are allowed in the building. If you don't like or are allergic to pets, you might want to look for an apartment in a building that does not allow them. Do you have a car? If so, you should check to see if a parking spot is included in the rent. You should also check the convenience and safety of the parking. And lastly, be sure to read every word of the rental contract. If there is anything you don't understand, get clarification before you sign the contract. The apartment you choose will be the place you wake up in and go home to each day, so it's worth taking the time to carefully consider these factors. If you do, you are bound to find a rental that is just right for you.
1. Finding the right apartment can have a big impact on your life. 2. Paying rent that is too expensive for you can impact your lifestyle. 3. Finding the right apartment doesn't have to be an overwhelming project. 4. When you go to a job interview, you should project a sense of confidence. 5. Be sure to read every word of the rental contract. 6. Some people contract dangerous viruses while they are traveling abroad.
Tiny houses, a big idea. Over the past few decades, the size of the average home had increased steadily in much of North and South America. But does having a larger home lead to increased happiness? Many people would say no, pointing to the way large houses tend to drain homeowners' time, energy, and wallets. As a result, we are now seeing a trend towards decreasing house size. In fact, some people are building and living in tiny houses, no larger than a parking spot. Jay Schaefer is the founder of a company that builds tiny homes. The smallest home he builds is only 65 square feet, 6 square meters. This is about the size of the average prison cell. But Schaefer's cozy small houses have the look and feel of a true home. Schaefer, whose 100 square foot, 9 square meter home is a far cry from the 4,000 square foot, 372 square meter home he grew up in, feels that a bigger home would be too large for him. When asked why he chooses to live in a tiny house, he says, "Mostly just because I don't like vacuuming." Schaefer says, a lot of people who downsize discover that what they feared would be claustrophobic is actually more nurturing and comforting. The practical and financial advantages of living in a tiny house are numerous. Small homes are quicker to construct and cost less to purchase and maintain. Also, while owners of large houses are often crippled by rising utility costs, the cost of heating and cooling a tiny house is minimal. These tiny homes have an appeal that is spreading around the globe. In Japan, the tight budget of the younger generation is creating a demand for ultra-compact homes called Kyosho Jutaku. Demand for these tiny homes is steadily growing, especially in Tokyo. Why? Even though Tokyo's land prices are among the most expensive in the world, Tokyo has one of the fastest growing populations in the country. People want to live close to the amenities of city life and to the excellent school systems available in Tokyo. They also do not want to deal with long train commutes in Tokyo from far-off suburbs. Shigeru Kumura, a Tokyo real estate agent who specializes in tiny homes, says, recently more people, especially in their 30s and early 40s, want to live in central Tokyo, and more people are thinking of how to live on a small plot of land. Architect Satoshi Kurosaki builds sleek, tiny modern homes that answer this need. Kurosaki recalls that the first compact home he built was on a 249 square foot, 23 square meter site. It was basically a large parking space in central Tokyo that a 27-year-old woman had inherited and wanted to live on. Kurosaki somehow managed to design and fit a 5-story home on the site. In Europe, researchers and designers have developed the MCH, Micro Compact Home, a tiny 2-story aluminum cube that, through efficient use of space, can serve as a home for 1 or 2 people. The 8.5-foot, 2.6-meter MCH was inspired by the compact spaces in first-class airplane cabins. These tiny transportable homes are now being sold throughout Europe. Hilda Koch, who lives in an MCH with her husband, points out, in the past it might have been difficult to live in such a small space, but as long as you have a laptop, you no longer need a television, photo albums, and shelves of books. After years of houses growing bigger and bigger in some parts of the world, we may now be seeing a reversal in the trend. The growing desire to live more simply and more economically may mean that the house of the future is not only smaller, it may be tiny.
A home over the canyon. When people talk about unusual homes, I think of our friend's dream home in New Mexico, on which they spent all their savings building. On the outside, the house looks like most adobe homes of the area. Adobe is made from sand, clay, water, and organic material that are shaped into bricks and left to dry in the sun. Our friend's house is a beautifully designed, large adobe home with a drive and a large cactus tree near the entrance. It has soft lines and is less angular than conventional urban homes. When you go through the door, you find yourself in a beautiful, spacious room with large windows and sunlight streaming in. Large windows are unusual for adobe homes, but this is no ordinary home. Part of the house juts out of the adobe shell that can be seen from the street and stretches to the end of a cliff. You walk past a kitchen fitted with a cast-iron stove and handmade wooden cabinets that give off the most enticing smells of cumin and chilies and herbs. It is so real you can almost taste the food. The spacious room that you step into when you enter the house stretches in all directions. You walk towards the sitting area. When you get closer, you need to brace yourself as the most spectacular view imaginable unfolds before your eyes. All of a sudden, you are no longer stepping on wood. The floor is hard, and your footsteps make a strange resounding sound. You look down and wonder whether you have been transported in space and time. You are looking into the gaping canyon. You think you are falling into it. You can almost feel the air whooshing past. Part of the floor is made of thick, custom-designed glass. You might like it or hate it,